podcast. My name is Claire Kasakanandi, your host, and I'm so happy that you could join me in this journey as I'm a young mother of three trying to figure out how best I can help my children heavenward. And then I just discovered this beautiful book, Child Guidance, written by Miss Ellen G. White. She has written so much for us in here. So if you're a young mother trying to figure out what you can do in training up your children, this is a very good book for us to get. And I'm so excited that you could join me as young mothers and as parents overall as we continue to discover the good principles that are found in this book. I have a lot I could share with you in this book as I have read a little here and there. But as we go on, we'll have even more and more interesting people joining us. And these are our elderly parents, our elderly mothers, our elderly fathers, trying to give us their experience. And as we move on, we will see that we are actually in the right direction, trying to follow what the book is actually sharing with us. And so, let me just highlight just a small part as to why we are on this journey together. Eternal interests are at stake, both for us as parents and for our children. So the detailed counsels in this book on discipline, character building, physical and spiritual education will be treasured by every thoughtful parent. So we are excited. I am so happy that we are having the time to come together here to learn this book together. We have a very special guest in our videos, and this is Mrs. Teresa Kasika, who has her own beautiful experience. Lessons she has learned are very wonderful, and we are going to learn from her today. So be with me as we welcome our dear parent in our midst. Welcome, Mrs. Kasika, to our podcast. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much for inviting me to this special program.
Thank you for being here. We are so excited to have you in our midst. And so, before we start, people would love to know more about you. When you were a young woman like us, how were you viewing marriage and bringing up children? What was your experience? Even as your light of the gospel became brighter and brighter, how did you accept and start practicing all those things that you have been learning?
Okay, when I was a young mother, I should confess that I haven't had the experience and the faith, of course, that I have now, because faith grows after years. So if I look back at the way I used to be, there are many things that I did that I just did because I've seen any other mother do that. But then later on in my spiritual journey, I managed to source some books that I now began to read, and one of them was Child Guidance. So when I so much started reading Child Guidance, that's when maybe my family wasn't yet big, and you children, you were not yet grown, you were still young. That's when I now delved into really studying and reading. And every time I would read something, I would try to put it in practice. Gradually. And so God helped me. Every time I would read something, I would put it to practice. And this is how the Lord just started showing light to me. And I had this light on how to grow the family and things like that. So God has really helped me through my journey as a young mother.
We praise God for that. And so we now kickstart our podcast on Child Guidance. If you have not yet invited someone, please invite someone. And if you do not have a copy of this book, there's a number that will be showing on your screen in a few moments from now. Send a WhatsApp message to that number and we'll join you into our WhatsApp group. In that group, you will have and receive your free PDF copy of the Child Guidance, and so you can go along with us in this journey as we read. So our first chapter, and by the way, she's my mother. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, and so I'll address her as Mom. I'm a child learning, and you also there, so we'll address each other like that. So, Mom, our first chapter in this book is talking about the importance of the homeschool. Understand and realize that in this time, this day and age, the economy is getting hard, as some people would put it. And so we find that we are failing to balance a mother being home with the children and a father, the one doing the money finding, yes, providing for the family. So now, how? Because this book, whether we like it or not, the results, if we do not adhere to God's principles, the first plan of God, if we do not adhere to that, the effects still follow us. Whether we give excuses, and actually they are very, very genuine excuses. But then we have this. So how would you help us? We long to be with our children, but life is just tearing us apart from our duties as mothers. How would you advise?
Okay, yeah. So the importance of homeschooling and how you'd really be there for your children.
Yes.
I know it is very difficult, and in today's day, it's a bit different from our day. Okay, so in today's day, there's a lot of people getting educated, and people aiming high, and things like that. That is not wrong, but then again, in so doing, if we are not careful, we are going to miss out on what God is telling us to do in terms of growing our family. So the importance of homeschooling or teaching children while they are home, it builds a very strong foundation for the children. I think even if you read in the same book, you'll find that we are counseled that the first 7 years are very, very important years for a child. We may not understand certain things, but at least when we are told, we should try to do what
and obey.
Yes, exactly. So when a mother is home, she has more time to instruct her children in little things that suppose you were a little too busy, you would not see those little things which you need to instruct your children in. Yes. So a child grows from day to day in every sphere. It could be mentally, socially, physically, spiritually. Yeah, children grow day to day. So we need to ensure that we observe them and help them in this journey. So now you can imagine if mom is not home and dad is not home, then who is going to do that? Who is going to lead the children from step to step in their spiritual journey? Who is going to teach them to have to socialize? Who is going to do that? So when a mom is home, she has all the time to ensure that the child develops in all these spheres, so that this child can become someone who is a well-rounded child as he steps out of home to go into the secular school, so to speak.
Okay, so regardless of the situation, at least we must put in an effort to try to reach out to our children, because we cannot avoid seeing our children going astray, despite whatever is happening around. Okay, so now we go on, we move on to education begins at home. That's what we are told here. Let's read together. It is in the home that the education of the child is to begin. Here is his first school. Here, with his parents as instructors, he is to learn the lessons that are to guide him throughout life. Lessons of respect, obedience, reverence, self-control. The educational influences of the home are a decided power for good or for evil. They are in many respects silent and gradual, but if exerted on the right side, they become a far-reaching power for truth and righteousness. If the child is not instructed aright here, Satan will educate him through agencies of his choosing. How important then is the school in the home? This introduction to the book is powerful, because it's just covers everything. It's telling us the benefits, and it's telling us the distraction that comes if we do not adhere to trying to groom our children. So maybe you can say something on that one.
Yes. So from what you've read there, it just shows how important it is for us to give direction to our children. So whatever the child is going to learn in the home, whatever you are going to teach that child in the home, that is what will make the child decide which way to go in life. Because as the child grows, they can either go the wrong way or they go the right way. So they need a direction. So the job of the father and the mother, the parents, is to give direction to that child. As it is said, the child can either go the evil way or go the good way. So it is our duty to navigate them in this life. Yeah. So if a mom is home, okay, fathers go out because that's their work. They go to look for food for the family. But then, as a mom, you are home now to ensure that you help those children to grow the right way. So there are many things you've mentioned there, areas in which the child should develop.
Yes.
So, as you teach these children, there are things that they cannot be taught out there. Yeah. For example, a 2-year-old, or a 1 year, maybe some months, or let me say a 2-year-old. You teach that 2-year-old to go and wash their face when they wake up, especially if they are like little ones, Yeah, maybe one is 2, the other one is 4, and they team up in the home. And when mommy says, "Can you go and wash your faces?" and they'll go and it will be something fun. It will be fun for them, and they'll go and wash their face. "Have you brushed your teeth?" And they'll go and brush their teeth. They'll comb their hair, and for those that are a bit elder, like for example 5, 6, 7 years, you tell them, "Have you spread your bed?" And you as a mom, you always be there to ensure that as they spread the bed, even if it's not so accurately done, but you are there to show them. And as you do that from day to day, they are eventually now going to learn to say, "Mommy always puts this sheet very straight, so I need to put it straight," and you find them struggling. These are things they can't learn out there. These are things they'll learn in the home.
In the home.
Yes.
Okay. So these are lessons: respect, obedience, reverence, self-control. These are lessons that actually give us a firm foundation. Even as we are growing up, the child faces temptations and peer pressure and all those things as they are growing up. This is what will keep them in the right direction.
Exactly. So maybe we can go through them one by one.
Yes.
Let's
we start with respect, obedience, reverence. So respect.
Start with respect. Okay. Yeah. So in the home, parents are going to teach their children respect. We know our society. We know what we teach our children in society today. A young child can't stand while giving something to an elderly person. We teach that child to kneel down. Okay? So those are some norms that we have, that we teach the children. So that is respect. How you speak to an elderly person. If an elderly person speaks to you, if you are in the wrong, suppose, you are not allowed to answer back. Okay? Let the elderly person speak and make a correction in the wrong that you have done, so that you are able to go the right way. In most cases today, some children, even as young as 4, they'll still argue back with the parents. It is our job to tell them to keep quiet. When mom or dad is speaking to them, they need to learn. They need to listen more. That's what the Bible says. It's better you listen more and speak less. So we teach our children respect, how to speak to elderly persons, okay? Yeah. So some of those are the examples I can give about respect. Then we also teach our children respect for God. Respect for the word of God. But we need to teach them that as well.
Yeah, that was under reverence. Things of God.
Yes, reverence, respect.
Yes. We also have obedience and self-control.
Okay, obedience. Yeah, so obedience is, these are interlinked. So obedience is also the same thing that I talked about. Okay, so if mom tells her daughter, "Can you go and cook?" or "Can you go and cut the vegetables?" The daughter is supposed to do it immediately. Okay? no lingering about. That is obedience. You stop what you're doing immediately and you do as mom asks you to do. Okay, now in this era where we are living, the era of phones and the era of gadgets, it makes it very difficult sometimes if you, for example, you are sending your 5-year-old girl, can you bring me something in the kitchen, or can you go and do this? Yes, mommy, I'm coming, and she's busy on the phone. So if we don't check that, and that child grows with delaying when you are sending them, then it becomes a habit later on. So they need to know that whatever mom says is very important. Whatever I'm doing, I should stop doing that immediately and do as mom or dad says. So that is obedience. You need to be obedient.
Yeah. Just before we go to self-control, on the part of reverence, I think this part is one of the main things, because if a child is taught reverence to God first, then even to the parents it becomes easier, because we are actually told that we stand as God to our children. So if the children can obey us, they'll easily obey God. On reverence, I find and notice that a lot of parents actually in church give their children the phone. Yes, to keep them quiet, but the children are there to worship. They are supposed to learn the act of worshiping God, and not for you to keep them quiet so you can worship as a parent. So we have to teach them the reverence.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of that actually.
Oh yes. I think this is a very, very important point. Now, to give a child a phone so that the child keeps quiet, so that you, a parent, can worship, it comes to nothing again. It comes to nothing, because you have brought that child. Why didn't you leave the child home? Okay, it's better as you come with the child, ensure that the child should also benefit from the programs that are there. If the child is elderly enough and she's able to sit in church and listen to what the preacher says, it is even far better than that. But if there are churches that don't have children's chapel, so the children will sit with the parents, it is still the duty of the parents to ensure that that child should get one or two things from what is happening in church today. So you can't take your phone or some toy and give the child, so the child's attention is away from you. Or you can't give him or her a packet of jiggies so that they can eat and you're busy watching. No, you're running away from your duties somehow. You need to, you are elderly. Yes, you've heard many messages, but I think your attention should be to your children, okay? Ensure, whisper to them to say, have you heard what the preacher is saying? Have you seen what is happening in front? So the training goes on. You can't definitely leave them out and say, no, me, I now want to worship. No situation lasts forever. Those kids may be small. I know there's a time when you're a young mother and you have got small children, I know there's a time where you can't have 100% concentration on what is being said. You'll be disturbed definitely, but I think you'll be disturbed for a good reason. Okay, so this is the reason why you really just need to be there. Don't mind. Very soon those kids will grow and you have all the attention to listen to what is being said. So some mothers I've seen, they even get annoyed. Even walk out of church, very annoyed. And I can't even worship well. You don't have to get annoyed. It is just time. You need to, grow those children properly.
One is, here the foundations are laid. Here the foundations are laid. Upon all parents, there rests the obligation of giving physical, mental, and spiritual instruction. It should be the object of every parent to secure to his child a well-balanced, symmetrical character. This is the work of no small magnitude and importance, a work requiring earnest thought and prayer, no less than patient, persevering effort. A right foundation must be laid, a framework strong and firm, erected, and then day by day the work of building, polishing, perfecting must go forward.
You need to lay a firm foundation. If a foundation is faulty, this is where you see buildings fall, buildings crack, and people die because people haven't laid a good foundation or haven't done a good job. Okay, it's the same in the life of our children. If we don't do a good job, there'll be cracks in their lives. Others will even collapse, and you lose a child for good. Yeah, so we need to lay a firm foundation. So the example I gave about giving the child the phone in church or giving them jiggies, as a parent, ask yourself, what kind of a foundation am I laying? Okay? Are you helping your child by giving them a packet of jiggies so that they keep quiet? What kind of a foundation are you laying? So you would lay a proper foundation if you used none of those, but you spoke to your child and make them aware to say that they are now in church and they need to give reverence to God and they need to listen, okay? Even if a child is young. At least a young child, if you tell a child, can you keep quiet? Listen. They'll listen. Your job is to train and train. Training doesn't end. It goes on and on and on and on. Yeah. So you mentioned some areas there of development.
Yes, there's an obligation of giving physical, mental, and spiritual instruction.
Okay.
Yes.
So physical. Let's look at the physical. What kind of instructions are you giving the child physically? We need to help children be active. They need to be active. Even if they have almost everything that you are able to give them as a parent, but there is a physical part that you really need to work on. For example, you can't let a child wake up in the morning and just sit, maybe if it's school holidays, they just sit, they come and watch TV as early as 7 hours, and they're just sitting there watching TV. After that, you give them breakfast, and they're just around home. They're not even going out. Take them out. Take them in the fresh air. If you read some books on health, take them into the fresh air. Let them learn lessons from nature. Take children out. Let them learn lessons from nature. Let the child or children run about. That is now the physical. So you need to help them in that. And much as they will develop, physically, even the mental is going to develop. That is the job of us parents. Don't just leave your kids like that. No. We need to guide them in everything that they need to do.
Yes, and then we have the spiritual one.
Then we have the spiritual. The children should have time to be read to Bible stories. For example, in family worship, that's where you can really get the best training you can give to children in terms of the spiritual. Because if you have family worship morning and evening, at those moments, even if it's for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, no matter how young the child is, they are going to pick one thing. They'll be singing, maybe you'd sing a song, they'll be presenting by dad or presenting by mom. They are going to learn something from that. I love what one of our sons-in-law does with their children when we go and visit. The lessons that they are going to read to the children during family worship are very simple but very educative. He'll just take it not so formally, but just a little story, and the kids would, listen, and they would laugh, and at the end of the presentation, no matter how young the child is, he is still going to pick something. So we need to be creative as parents. We need to be creative. Don't take family worship like it's so strict, and especially when you have young children. So it also depends on how big the children are, how young they are. So we need to come in. So there is where you give them a lot of spiritual education. They're going to learn how to pray. Daddy prays like this. Some little babies, 1 year, they'll pray. Because they're emulating daddy. So they'll kneel down, and even if the words doesn't make sense, but at least there'll be Jesus, there'll be daddy, there'll be blessed. So it means the child is learning. So that is how they can learn from the spiritual aspect.
And it's amazing how things easily get so impressed when they are, like they're deeply impressed on their hearts and in their minds. Because I remember when I told this, my youngest daughter a story. She kept on talking about it. I think for 2-3 days, she just kept on reflecting, asking me questions, same questions. But that just gave me how much that goes deep into their life.
Exactly.
And they may never even forget about it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are the lessons that we teach them, because we tell them Bible stories. When this earth was created, or when Abraham was there, or Moses, we were not there. Okay, so someone taught us. okay, the history. And today it's our job to tell our children, when we are gone and our children are grown and they have their own homes, they'll also teach their children. So this is what we are supposed to do. So family worship, very, very key in improving your children's spiritual state.
Yes, as you are talking, I just thought on mental, the mental state of our children. I've been wondering why there's a high rise in mental health now. And as I was at church just a week ago, someone mentioned that the reason why there's this rise in mental health is because parents are not there for their children. Mental health, what is mental health? It's something to do with the state of the mind. So if the child has that primary giver, their state of mind is not okay. And so as they are growing up, these mental health issues come in. And this is because if you also look around, both parents are busy. Mommy is doing this, daddy is doing this. There's no one really to take care of the small needs of the child. And so that child grows cold, grows not wanted, and so these mental health issues.
And they sort things out on their own in their little minds.
And they're just self-centered and things like that.
So I remember when I was young, one little boy in a certain home, he must have been about maybe 4 years. So this little boy says, I want to see what is in this car. The dad had bought him a car. He doesn't just want to drive the car around. He wants to see what is in this car, what is making it move. So I told the father, just open this car, even if it's new. Just break it open if you have screws and things like that, so that the child can see. So if dad can find time and be with their little sons and open that car and teach them and say, Sonny, so this is this. As you are teaching them, as you are imparting what you know, they are also picking it from there. So the little boy will be so curious and say, okay, so this engine, and they'll become interested. So that is how you develop their mental capacity. Yes. But if we ignore that and we are so busy with our own things, where do you think that curiosity is going to go? This is what we are saying, that build a firm foundation. Where is that curiosity going to go? Where is it going to be driven to? Because dad is not there now to explain how this car moves. And now, what more many other things that the children need to know. So we need to track them, we need to be with them so that they know exactly how this works. So if you're not around, there are so many questions that they have. So it's better you're around, or like dads who are quite busy. If it is a weekend, make sure you're with your little boy children so that you teach them certain things. That is how you train a child.
And they grow with self-esteem like that.
Exactly.
They have confidence.
They have confidence. Daddy said this, and they have confidence.
They have confidence.
Yes.
Okay. There's so much to talk about.
Exactly.
There's so much to talk about. But you have your book, and at your own time you pass through. Yes. The next paragraph says, deny the child anything but this right. Parents, remember that your home is a training school in which your children are to be prepared for the home above. Deny them anything rather than the education that they should receive in their earliest years. Allow no words of pettishness. Teach your children to be kind and patient. Teach them to be thoughtful of others. Thus you are preparing them for the higher ministry in religious things. The home should be a preparatory school where children and youth may be fitted to do service for the master, preparatory to joining the higher school in the kingdom of God.
Oh, very interesting. So, our home is a training school. Training. You know what training means? You need to train and teach children obedience and love. How do we do that? How do we teach our children obedience? How do we teach them love? So when you see a child is disobedient, because we are naturally born with sin, so we'll naturally be inclined to doing wrong. So now you as a parent, you need to, if you see that the child is disobedient, speak to that child, direct them in a proper way. Not with anger, but with love. Because if you are going to teach a child love, you need to teach them in love. So you need to be kind to them. We are not saying don't beat your children. Even the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. There is time to beat. I remember you guys I used to beat. Yes, there's time to beat, yes, but mostly there's time to teach. You need to teach, okay? So you teach them obedience, teach them love. And then I want to talk about training briefly. Okay. What does training mean? Like, to train. Do you train without a trainer?
No. The trainer is always
A trainer is there. A trainer is there. You know, there was this day I was in a bus. I was traveling home. And then these guys, I think it was on the radio, yeah, where people were saying, I think, is it Zesco? I don't know which other club, I think I'm just mistaken. I'm waiting for a trainer, they're waiting for a trainer. That's a football team. Okay. Then now I'm saying that, but these guys have been playing football for quite some time, but they need a trainer. But why do they need a trainer? Yeah. Okay, so that trainer probably has new tactics and things like that, so that club should do what? Should succeed. So now what's more in a home? What kind of a trainer do we need? How do we train our children when the trainer is absent? The mom is not there, the dad is not there. So who is training the child? Okay? So you train the child, you repeatedly do something that you want them to learn. Repeatedly. They do it the first time, they don't do it right. They do it the second time, they don't do it right. They do it the third time, they improve until they become perfect. So that is what the training means. So we train them in all aspects. Okay. So if you leave out that, then there's no trainer, and then the children won't be trained.
Yes. Very interesting.
Yes.
So in all this training, our one aim is to train them for heaven. Yes. That is what is written here.
Exactly.
To prepare them for the home in heaven.
Okay, so just there. Yes. So, when I read about the Jewish mother, the Jewish mother was home all the time for the children. The father would go out as a provider, but the mom would be there. And what would the mom teach them? The mom would teach them how to pray. A mom would teach them the chores in the home. The mom is there. It's like she just knows that I just need to be here because there are children under me and I need to train them. So she was educating them, okay, so that they become better citizens in heaven. So they can't be better citizens in heaven if we haven't trained them here on earth. We need to train them. This is a stepping stone. This is a training ground for our heavenly home. So we need to ensure that we teach them how to read the Bible when they are old enough. Teach them how to read the Bible. Buy them Bible story books and things like that. I think mostly it's even better just to buy hard copy, read to them, teach them also how to read for themselves than just giving them cartoons. Because someone would say, okay, I'm giving them cartoons, so it's okay, they'll still learn. But I think the mind of a child is very, they think a lot. Yeah. So you as a mother, again, you need to come and give them guidance. Like if you're reading a hard copy book or story, they'll ask questions. Now on a cartoon, they may not ask questions because the cartoon is running fast. Yeah. And there's no time to rethink. Yeah. So they'll just, be so fast. Yeah. So they need to have a hard copy and read. When you read one paragraph, they'll ask, so Buya, what does that mean? Or Mommy, what does that mean? And now you need to explain to them so that you make it so clear to them what you are trying to read there. So it's very important that we go back to hard copy than just giving them cartoons and they just watch on their own. I think it's not of so much help.
Actually, just on the point of cartoons, what reading does is that it helps us use our imagination. So as you are reading for the child, that child is practicing and using the imaginative part of the brain. And so they'll be trying to picture, and so it actually helps their brain grow. It actually goes under the mental part that we are taught. And then the other thing that I've discovered with cartoons, because a child in their early years are deeply impressed. If a cartoon, cartoons, we don't know the image of Jesus, how Jesus looks. Jesus never left any picture of him. But then these cartoons will come up with an imaginary picture, and then the child will carry that picture with him or with her until he reaches a certain age. Like for me right now, this is when I'm discovering it. Oh, actually, so that was just a cartoon, eh? But you find those things are deeply engraved in me. Say, oh, this is how Jesus looks. So a cartoon may not be the best, actually. just the way Mom has advised, reading is just the perfect
Yeah,
way.
so if you read and you talk to your children, you are building the image of God in their minds.
Yes.
So you read the stories and they start imagining how God is. Because no one has seen God. Okay. No
You
one
know
has
the
seen
point that
God.
has come in my mind? The cartoons will bring you the physical, okay? It will show, this is how Jesus was looking, and that's how the child will pick it. But when you read from the Word of God, do you know what the image that the child will put on Jesus' face? It is his character. That's the image that the child will take. Not the physical, of which the cartoon will bring, but the character of God. God is love. So the child will, I haven't seen God, I don't know how Jesus looks like, but all I know is that he's pure
love.
and loving, and that's who God really is.
And that's our aim, to
Yes.
prepare our children for heaven.
I thank God for this thought. I'm so amazed. Yes, we actually transfer the character of God to them when we read to them, and not the physical, which we have not seen.